Welcome back to Stoic Wisdom TV. Respect is the foundation of any strong relationship, yet many men unknowingly engage in behaviors that slowly erode it. Without respect, love, attraction, and even loyalty begin to fade. While most men assume that respect is something they are entitled to, the truth is that it must be earned and maintained through consistent actions and unwavering character. Losing a woman's respect is not an overnight event. It is the result of repeated patterns of weakness, insecurity, or indecision that gradually diminish her admiration. Throughout history, great thinkers like the Stoics have emphasized the importance of self-respect as the key to earning external respect. If you lack confidence, emotional stability, or integrity, those around you, especially your partner, will sense it. The way you carry yourself, make decisions, and handle challenges determines whether you command respect or lose it. In this discussion, we will explore 5 critical behaviors that destroy respect in relationships. More importantly, we will uncover how Stoic wisdom can help eliminate these destructive habits and cultivate the mindset of a man who naturally earns admiration. By recognizing and correcting these behaviors, you can build stronger, more fulfilling relationships based on mutual respect and trust. Seeking validation is one of the most common yet damaging behaviors a man can exhibit in a relationship. When a man constantly seeks approval from his partner or changes his personality to fit her expectations, he unknowingly weakens her respect for him. Respect is built on strength, confidence, and independence, qualities that disappear when a man becomes overly needy. A woman may initially appreciate a man's attentiveness, but if he continuously asks questions like "Do you love me?" or alters his opinions just to align with hers, she will start to see him as weak. Over time, this erodes attraction and respect. Women are naturally drawn to men who are secure in themselves, not those who rely on constant reassurance to feel worthy. A man who depends on his partner for validation is, in essence, giving her control over his self-worth, which is an immediate sign of insecurity. One of the most damaging behaviors that can destroy respect in a relationship is constantly seeking validation. When a man is overly needy for approval, whether through excessive reassurance or changing his personality just to please his partner, he unknowingly weakens his own value. A woman respects a man who is confident in himself, someone who stands firm in his beliefs and decisions. However, when a man constantly asks, "Do you love me?" or a needy behavior stems from a deeper issue, lack of self-worth. A man who constantly seeks validation is essentially saying that his value is determined by how others perceive him rather than by his own principles. This dependence on external approval creates an unhealthy dynamic in relationships. Women naturally admire men who are self-sufficient and confident in their own identity. If a man is always seeking permission to be himself, it suggests that he lacks an inner foundation of confidence. Over time, this behavior can lead to resentment, as no one wants to carry the responsibility of constantly validating someone else. The Stoics, including Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, understood the importance of self-respect. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wisdom teaches that a man's self-worth should come from within, not from the opinions of others. Instead of seeking validation from a partner, a man must develop his own confidence, rooted in his values and actions. Self-assurance is not about arrogance, but about knowing one's worth, without needing constant reassurance from others. To break free from the cycle of seeking validation, a man must shift his focus inward. First, he should build self-confidence by setting and achieving personal goals. Whether it is in his career, fitness, or personal development, accomplishment reinforces self-worth. When a man knows he is progressing in life, he naturally exudes confidence. Second, he must establish his own principles and values. A strong man does not change his character based on someone else's expectations. He remains true to himself. Living by a strong personal code eliminates the need for external approval. Third, he should practice emotional independence. Instead of looking to his partner for constant reassurance, he should cultivate inner peace and self-acceptance. Seeking validation and being overly needy are behaviors that erode respect in a relationship. Women respect men who are confident, self-sufficient, and secure in themselves. By applying Stoic principles and developing inner confidence, a man can break free from the need for approval and command respect naturally. True respect comes from self-assurance, not from constantly asking for it. When a man learns to validate himself, he not only earns the respect of others, but also builds a stronger, healthier relationship based on mutual admiration rather than dependency. Lacking emotional control is one of the most damaging behaviors a man can exhibit in a relationship, leading to a significant loss of respect. A man who frequently explodes in anger or crumbles under pressure appears weak, unpredictable, and unreliable. Women, and people in general, are naturally drawn to those who remain calm and composed, especially in difficult or stressful situations. Emotional stability is a sign of strength, maturity, and self-discipline. When a man allows his emotions to dictate his actions, whether through outbursts of rage, panic, or complete breakdown, sends a clear message that he is not in control of himself. This instability creates uncertainty in relationships, making it difficult for others to trust or depend on him. Many men mistakenly believe that expressing anger aggressively asserts dominance and commands respect. However, the opposite is true. Losing control and reacting emotionally signals insecurity, not strength. A man who constantly lashes out over minor frustrations or overreacts to situations is perceived as weak, not powerful. His inability to regulate his emotions makes those around him feel uncomfortable, stressed, or even fearful. Similarly, a man who collapses under pressure, whether by becoming overwhelmed with anxiety or avoiding difficult situations, further weakens his position. People respect those who remain steady and composed, even in the face of adversity. The reason emotional control is so crucial is that it determines how a man is perceived as a leader, partner, and individual. If he cannot manage his emotions, how can he be expected to handle challenges in life and relationships? A man who is emotionally volatile forces others to adjust to his instability, rather than leading with strength. This lack of emotional control can push people away, create unnecessary conflicts, and diminish his ability to build deep, meaningful connections. The Stoic philosophers, particularly Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, emphasized emotional discipline as a core principle of strength and respect. Seneca once wrote, "Most powerful is he who is himself in his own power." This means that true strength is not about controlling others or external circumstances, but mastering one's own reactions. Instead of reacting impulsively, a man should learn to pause, breathe, and assess whether his emotional response is justified. By choosing to respond with calmness rather than react with anger or fear, he demonstrates true power. To develop emotional control, a man must practice self-awareness and mindfulness. He should identify the triggers that cause emotional outbursts and work on handling them with logic, instead of impulse. Pausing before reacting allows him to think critically rather than be ruled by fleeting emotions. Additionally, adopting a problem-solving mindset rather than dwelling on frustration helps maintain composure. Instead of viewing emotions as something to suppress, he should learn to channel them productively. A man who lacks emotional control risks losing respect, trust, and influence in both relationships and life. Strength is not measured by how loudly someone reacts, but by how well they manage their emotions. In challenging situations, a man who remains calm and composed commands respect effortlessly. By mastering his emotions through Stoic principles, he becomes someone who is not only respected, but also trusted and admired. True power lies in self-mastery, and only those who govern their emotions can truly lead and inspire others. Indecisiveness and weak-mindedness are among the most damaging traits a man can exhibit in any relationship or aspect of life. When a man hesitates, overthinks, or constantly seeks direction from others, he appears unreliable and untrustworthy. Women respect leaders, not followers. They admire men who can make decisions with confidence, take responsibility for their choices, and navigate life with certainty. A man who frequently second-guesses himself or relies on his partner to make decisions signals a lack of inner strength. Over time, this Bahavai or erodes respect, as it makes him appear incapable of handling challenges or taking charge of his own life. Hesitation in decision-making reflects a lack of confidence. A man who constantly asks, "What should I do?" or is paralyzed by fear of making the wrong choice will struggle to gain respect from others. While careful thinking and planning are important, excessive overthinking leads to inaction. Life requires decisive action, and those who wait too long to act often miss valuable opportunities. Moreover, when a man is weak-minded, meaning he allows others to influence his opinions too easily or avoids standing by his own beliefs, appears untrustworthy. If a person does not respect his own thoughts and decisions, why should others? The Stoics understood that confidence and decisiveness are essential for strength and leadership. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This means that true confidence comes from making decisions without fear of judgment or failure. No one is perfect, and mistakes are inevitable. But the ability to make a decision and own the outcome, whether good or bad, is what builds strength and respect. A man who constantly seeks approval or permission to act does not inspire confidence. Instead, people respect those who trust their own judgment and learn from experience. To overcome indecisiveness and weak-mindedness, a man must shift his mindset. First, he must take ownership of his decisions. Instead of waiting for the perfect choice, he should make the best decision based on the information available and commit to it. Even if the outcome is not ideal, taking responsibility and learning from mistakes builds character. Second, he must strengthen his mindset by standing firm in his values. A man who constantly changes his opinions to fit others' expectations loses credibility. Developing a clear set of principles and sticking to them, regardless of external pressure, fosters respect. Third, he must practice decisiveness in small ways. By making quick, confident choices in daily life, whether in conversations, career moves, or personal development, he builds the habit of trusting himself. Being indecisive and weak-minded damages respect because it signals a lack of leadership, confidence, and reliability. Women, and people in general, respect those who take action, stand by their decisions, and learn from their experiences. By embracing Stoic wisdom and developing inner strength, a man can break free from hesitation and self-doubt. True confidence comes not from always being right, but from owning one's choices and growing stronger through them. A man who trusts himself naturally earns the respect of others, proving that decisiveness and resilience are key to lasting influence and admiration. One of the most damaging behaviors a man can exhibit is dishonesty or a lack of integrity. Trust is the foundation of any strong relationship, and once it is broken, it is incredibly difficult to rebuild. If a man's words and actions do not align, people will quickly see him as unreliable, untrustworthy, and weak. This applies to both romantic relationships and life in general. No one respects someone who cannot stand by his own words. When a man makes promises he doesn't keep, tells half-truths, or manipulates situations to his advantage, he erodes the trust others have in him. Without trust, respect fades, and without respect, relationships crumble. Integrity means living by a code of honesty and consistency. A man of integrity does not say one thing and do another. He does not make empty promises or shift his values depending on the situation. Instead, he stands firm in his beliefs, speaks truthfully, and follows through on commitments. Women respect men who are dependable and whose actions match their words. A man who frequently lies, makes excuses, or avoids taking responsibility for his actions will eventually lose credibility. Even small Dishonest is saying he will do something, and then failing to follow through accumulate over time, leading to a complete breakdown of trust. The Stoics understood that integrity is one of the highest virtues a man can possess. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." The simple yet powerful principle serves as a guideline for living a life of honesty. A man who consistently tells the truth, even when it is difficult, and who keeps his promises, even when it is inconvenient, earns deep respect from others. People may not always agree with an honest man, but they will respect his consistency and reliability. A dishonest man, on the other hand, will always be viewed with suspicion. To cultivate integrity, a man must commit to a few key principles. First, he must always speak the truth, even when it is uncomfortable. Honesty requires courage, but it builds trust in the long run. Second, he must align his actions with his words. If he says he will do something, he must follow through, no matter how small the commitment. Third, he must take responsibility for his mistakes. No one is perfect, but a man who owns up to his failures and makes amends is far more respectable than one who lies or shifts blame. Lastly, he must avoid manipulation and deceit in all areas of life. True integrity is not just about avoiding lies, it is about being transparent, fair, and principled. Dishonesty and a lack of integrity are fatal to respect and trust. A man who cannot be relied upon to tell the truth or keep his word will eventually lose the respect of those around him. By following Stoic principles and committing to honesty, consistency, and accountability, a man can build a reputation of integrity. True respect is not given to those who demand it, it is earned by those who live with honor. A man of his word never has to ask for respect. It comes to him naturally through his actions and character. The quickest ways to lose respect in any relationship is by being passive and avoiding conflict. Many men mistakenly believe that keeping the peace by avoiding tough conversations or tolerating disrespect will make their relationships stronger. In reality, this behavior signals weakness, not strength. When a man fails to stand up for himself, others, especially his partner, begin to see him as someone who lacks confidence and self-worth. Women respect men who can handle challenges, set boundaries, and address issues directly rather than running from them. A man who remains silent in the face of disrespect, manipulation, or conflict will eventually lose the admiration of those around him. Avoiding conflict does not mean avoiding unnecessary arguments. It means refusing to confront real issues out of fear. Some men believe that by always agreeing with their partner, sacrificing their own needs, or letting things slide, they are being a good man, but over time, this approach backfires. A man who refuses to address problems directly is often perceived as weak or indecisive. He allows resentment to build, and rather than solving problems, he merely suppresses them. This passivity not only damages respect, but also weakens the relationship itself. Women may test a man's strength by challenging him or pushing his boundaries, and if he consistently backs down, she will subconsciously lose faith in his ability to lead and protect. The Stoics believed that true strength lies in facing challenges head-on. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, problems and conflicts are not obstacles to be avoided, they are opportunities for growth and self-improvement. A man who embraces this mindset does not shy away from difficult conversations or uncomfortable situations. Instead, he confronts them with calmness, logic, and courage. Standing up for oneself does not mean being aggressive or confrontational, but rather being assertive and clear about one's values, needs, and boundaries. To overcome passivity and build respect, a man must develop the ability to address issues directly. First, he must recognize when he is tolerating disrespect or avoiding conflict out of fear. Ignoring problems does not make them disappear. It only makes them worse over time. Second, he must practice assertive communication. This means expressing his thoughts and feelings honestly and directly while remaining calm and respectful. Third, he must establish and enforce boundaries. If someone continually crosses a line, he should not be afraid to call it out and take action if necessary. Lastly, he must develop the courage to face uncomfortable situations. Whether it is confronting a disrespectful remark, standing up for his beliefs, or discussing a difficult topic, he must learn to embrace conflict as a necessary part of life. In conclusion, being passive and avoiding conflict weakens respect because it signals a lack of confidence and leadership. Women and people in general respect those who stand up for themselves, set boundaries, and handle difficult situations with strength and composure. The Stoic approach teaches that true power comes from confronting challenges rather than avoiding them. By applying this mindset, A man can command respect without demanding it, ensuring that he is seen as strong, reliable, and worthy of admiration. Respect is not something that can be begged for or demanded. It is something that must be earned. Through consistent actions, strong character, and a commitment to personal growth, many men struggle with respect in their relationships, friendships, or professional lives because they seek external validation, rather than focusing on their internal strength. The reality is that respect is commanded, not requested, and it is built over time through the way a man carries himself, the values he upholds, and the consistency with which he applies these principles in daily life. A man who lives with confidence, integrity, emotional control, and decisiveness will naturally earn the respect of those around him. One of the most crucial aspects of earning respect is consistency. A man cannot expect to be respected if he only upholds his values occasionally, or when it is convenient. People recognize and admire consistency because it signals reliability and inner strength. If a man is disciplined, confident, and principled in his actions every day, others will take notice and respect will follow. This applies to all areas of life: relationships, work, friendships, and even self-respect. A man who constantly breaks his own rules, changes his opinions to please others, or fails to follow through on his commitments will never earn deep respect. Conversely, a man who stands by his values no matter the circumstances will command admiration effortlessly. Another essential truth about respect is that it originates from within. A man who does not respect himself cannot expect others to respect him. This means taking care of one's mind, body, and spirit, and refusing to tolerate disrespect from others. It also means being self-sufficient, not relying on external validation for self-worth. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "You have power over your men, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." A man who cultivates inner strength does not need to seek approval because he knows his worth. He does not react impulsively to negativity or setbacks because he is grounded in his own principles. This unwavering self-respect is what naturally draws respect from others. Applying these lessons daily requires discipline and self-awareness. Every situation in life presents an opportunity to reinforce or weaken one's reputation. When faced with a difficult decision, a man must ask himself, am I acting according to my values, or am I compromising for the sake of comfort or approval? When confronted with disrespect, he must determine, am I addressing this directly and setting clear boundaries, or am I allowing myself to be walked over? When dealing with emotions, he must practice control and not let anger or fear dictate his actions. By consistently choosing strength, honesty, and self-respect, a man builds a solid foundation upon which respect from others naturally follows. In conclusion, the key to earning respect lies in daily consistency, inner strength, and an unwavering commitment to one's principles. True respect is not given freely. It is earned through disciplined action, emotional resilience, and a strong sense of self-worth. A man who applies these principles every day will never have to demand respect. It will be given to him naturally. The greatest lesson the Stoics teach is that true power comes from within, and a man who embodies this will always be worthy of admiration. If this message resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that will help you create the life you truly deserve. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.